Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I am the dyer and podcaster and overall crafter behind Birch and Lily. Today is January 7th, 2022. Holy cow. I know I've been gone for a little while, but I appreciate you guys' patience while I took some time off over Christmas to spend with my family. Had a lovely time. It was freezing cold, freezing cold, but we had a good time, and I appreciate you being patient with me while I've been gone. And as well, I appreciate your patience today. I have a new camera, a new phone rather, but new camera. So hopefully everything goes well with recording, but we will see. Other than that, a couple places you can find me on the internet, birchandlilyfiber.com. All yarn is on sale on the website right now, probably until the end of next week. Keep an eye on my Instagram for when I close that or when I'm going to be closing that. But anyways, you can find me on my website, birchandlilyfiber.com. You can also find me on Instagram at birch.and.lily. TikTok is the same, not that I ever use TikTok. And then Ravelry and Lovecrafts are going to be linked down below, but those are Birch and Lily as well. So yeah, let's jump on in. I have a decent amount of finished objects. I realize now I forgot to grab something, so I'm gonna have to do that really quick. Yeah, we'll jump in with finished objects. Okay, I forgot, first of all, how winded I get running up and down the stairs when I forget things, but also how warm it is with these lights on me, and I put a really warm sweater on, so hopefully I do not melt halfway through this. We'll see. But yes, finished objects. So my goal this year is to be more organized. So I have all my finished objects in this basket. My hope is that as I finish things, I'll put them in here and then I won't forget to talk about things. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, let's do some finished objects. This first pair I have, or pair of socks rather, that I have finished. I had cast this yarn on with a different pattern before Christmas, and I realized I just wasn't enjoying the pattern. It was too complicated. It had a ton of baubles in it, and I love baubles and I love how they look, but I just wasn't wanting to pick it up, which is not great. Like for sock knitting, for me, most of the time I like to be pretty relaxing, and this pattern was not relaxing. So I couldn't tell you what it is. I forgot to write it down. But I cast on something instead with this yarn. So this sock set here is from Explore Knits and Fibers. This is called Jingle Bells and Red-Nosed Reindeer. So the main color here is Jingle Bells, and this is Red-Nosed Reindeer. And the pattern that I cast on for this is the Faded Wood Socks. It's a pattern by This Handmade Life. The pattern I think only comes in 64 stitches. So that I knew was going to be too big for me, just with the fact that this is a really lacy pattern. So I converted the pattern to 56 stitches. Gotta remember how my monitor works. I converted the pattern to 56 stitches, which was really easy. All I did, I think I removed one pattern repeat, and then I had to add just some straight knit stitches on either side of it, so that I had the 28 stitches on each side. Because with a 56 stitch sock, there's 28 stitches on each side of the needle when you knit in magic loop, which is the way I knit all of my socks. And yeah, I used a 2.25mm needle, US 1 for this. I did a 1x1 twisted rib. It's coming to my mind that I changed the ribbing on these. I could be wrong. The pattern may have called for something else. It may have just called for a 1x1 rib, I think, and I find that to be too messy for my knitting. So 1x1 twisted rib, repeated the pattern a couple times for the leg, slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset, and a wedge toe. So yeah, I worked on these before Christmas. These are my first pair for the Great Woolberry Fiber Co. Christmas. Gosh, I have it written down somewhere. It's a really long hashtag, which is fine, but it makes it hard to remember. The Great Woolberry Christmas Socks Make-Along. So it's something that Woolberry Fiber Co. is doing. There's no prizes, no nothing for it. It's just for fun for, I think, the next 2 years. everyone's knitting Christmas socks and trying to have 25 done so that we have a pair of Christmas socks for every day of December, or leading up to Christmas of December. So this is my first pair for that. I need to find a place or a cute little box or something to put all of these in, but these are really fun to knit. If you have any questions about how I converted it to 56 stitches and what I said made 0 sense, leave a comment down below, and I think me writing it out would make a lot more sense. So yeah, enjoyed these, and I'm excited to have the first pair done. Like I said, I don't know where I'm going to put these. Put them back there. So, more finished objects. What do I have written next? Next, I wrote down my Advent socks. This is one of 2 Advent pairs of socks that I did. And I need to find which ones are the right ones. So, I will show you in a moment, but I have been knitting up these Cozy Knitter Advent socks since they started. Why can I not find the second sock? There we go. So basically the idea that the Cozy Knitter came up with is a self-striping skein of yarn. It's 2 skeins that are perfectly matched so that you can knit a stripe a day. There's 24 stripes all the way up to Christmas so that you have a pair of socks for Christmas. So it's basically like an Advent, but a smaller one. It's not like a mini skein Advent. So I did these again this year and finished them up. And then, like I said, I do have the other 3 because I've been doing this ever since this started, and I thought I would show you all 4 of the different years together because I thought that would be fun. I did post it on Instagram. If you're following me on Instagram, oh, I love this sweater, but it keeps riding up from how I'm sitting. If you're following me on Instagram, you would have seen this already. But here we go. These are, I can tell my camera, I don't know why it's graying out when I pull stuff up. Like I said, new phone, we're gonna get used to this. But these are, yeah, it's showing them so much more muted than they actually are. What if, there, okay, so note to self, overhead light should not be on anymore. That's a little bit better as it grays out again. What the heck? Anyways, these are the Cozy Knitter Advent 2021 socks. I cast on 56 stitches for these. I did a 2x2 rib for the cuff. This is an afterthought heel. I was contemplating doing a slip stitch heel flap and gusset, and then I started knitting these and just was like, no, I just want to knit. And I wish I would have done a slip stitch heel flap and gusset because afterthought heels don't stay on my foot very well. I find the sock slides around too much. So note to future self, next year make sure I do a slip stitch heel flap and gusset, and then wedge toe. You can see they're even sliding around on the blockers, like they just don't want to stay. But yeah, 2.25 millimeter needles for these, US 1, and yeah, they were super fun. So this was the starting color the first day, and then every day I knit all the way until Christmas Eve. Quick put in the toes and the heels, and I had socks for, did I wear these Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? I think I wore them both actually. I can't remember. It hasn't even been that long and I still totally, or I've already completely forgotten. But yeah, these are really fun. And like I said, I have all the other ones here, so I might as well, maybe I'll just grab one of each sock. Which was the first year? This was the first year. Second year. Third year. And this year. There we go. So yeah, this has been like a super fun tradition. So this was the very first year I did it. You can tell the stripes are a little bit thinner, and she changed that within the following years. This was the second year, so what was this? 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. So very cool, very fun. If this isn't something that you participate in, I know a whole bunch of different self-striping dyers are doing it now, but I just think it's a really, no matter who you get the yarn from, it's a really fun thing to do. So yeah, nothing crazy to say about those, as they are just vanilla stockinette socks. So let's move on. You can kind of see behind me, and I think what I'll do after I record this, obviously in editing, you'll see it running across the screen here, but is shoot a little video of that little garland you can kind of sort of see behind me. Well, first of all, so let's start this over. I got for Christmas this year from my husband the Woolberry Fiber Co. mini skein advent calendar. So 24 mini skeins leading all the way up to Christmas. You open one every day, do whatever the heck you want with it. Originally, I started knitting just a pair of scrappy socks, which you will see next. But then Summerly Design Co. released the cutest little itty bitty like Christmas tree ornament sock pattern. They're teensy tiny. Do I have one? I made some that were just like random ones for fun. So this is what it looks like. Look how cute that is. It's itty bitty. So I'm going to be making these throughout the year to have a Christmas tree full of socks next year, basically. But I knit every single one of those 24 advent skeins into a little tiny sock. And then I had the idea to turn it into a garland to hang above my window. So maybe I'll insert the footage here, and if I keep talking, I don't know, I'll probably think of something else to say, and if I don't, the footage is already rolling, cool, whatever. But me running through that whole thing. So basically, I knit them all up, and then I just threaded some scrap yarn through the top of each of the socks to turn them into this little garland. I do think I'm going to shorten up the string that I have it hanging on. I feel like it's hanging a little bit too low, and it's kind of making an issue for me to open and close the curtains, but I just love how it looks, and I think it really adds to the room, and it's just fun. So that is what I used part of my advent skeins for, and I didn't realize how much yardage there is in a mini. Like, I know how much yardage there is, but I guess it just didn't really translate into my mind, and so I was able to do these teensy tiny socks, a pair of scrappy socks, and I still have enough yarn to add into my Northeasterly blanket, which is something I pulled out and you'll see also shortly. But I'm pretty impressed with how far these mini skeins are going. So yes, I'm sure by now I have shown you all those little sockies. I thought it was really fun, and like I said, I'm going to keep knitting those tiny socks up throughout the year. I want to make enough to have as little ornaments on our Christmas tree. We just have a tiny little, I think it's only like 3 or 4 feet tall Christmas tree. Since we don't usually end up being at our home for Christmas, we wanted something that still made the house feel festive, but not too much work to put up when we're not spending the majority of our time here. So it shouldn't take me too long, but my plan, like I said, is to, every time I knit a pair of socks, I'm going to use the leftover yarn to make a tiny sock, because they're really fast to knit. So the pattern for that will be linked down below. It is free, which is even more amazing. But yeah, that and everything else I talk about is always linked down below in the description. Or I guess it's down below and then you click open it up and now it's on the side now. I don't know, it's confusing. But it will be linked for you. And if I miss something, you can always ask me down below in the comments. So I have one other finished object, another pair of socks. All I was knitting on is socks, and I'm fine with that. This is another pair of socks for the Great Woolberry Fiber Co. Christmas sock make-along. Did I get that right? I don't know. Another pair of socks for this. These are the winter birch socks. This is a pattern from Larkspur Knits, and I love it so much, and I kind of want to knit another pair. This got me into really wanting to knit colorwork socks. And so now I've been knitting colorwork socks. I'm also shedding hair, apparently. But I have another pair of colorwork socks on the needle, and I'm just having so much fun with them. This is, what is this sock set? This is North Pole from Woolberry Fiber Co. Also beautiful. I love it a lot. It's just, I don't know, it's not showing up how minty this blue is. Sorry, I keep staring at my monitor because, again, I haven't recorded in a month and I'm just gonna have to get back into the swing of things. But yeah, it's really, really minty and it's not showing on camera at all. But what did I do for these? I cast on 64 stitches. I I did 64 because this cuff is really snug the way you knit it. It's hard to not get it snug, so I figured I would do bigger. Plus this portion here, this herringbone portion, is quite snug as well. So it made more sense to cast on 64 stitches. And then what I ended up doing, after I was done all the patterning on the sock, I decreased down to 60 stitches. So the foot and the heel and all of this of the sock is 60 stitches. And I'm really happy I did that. The sock fits great. So yeah, 2.25 millimeter needle, US 1. Like I said, this is color work. This is color work. This is obviously just one color, but really simple color work. So if you haven't tried color work before, I think this wouldn't be too bad of a thing to try it out with. So otherwise, not tons to say about that, other than they're adorable and I love them a lot. And like I said, also going into my Christmas box of socks. I'll just pile them all behind me on the desk because I don't know where else to put them right now. So, let's see. I am still catching up from jet lag and drinking energy drinks. And I'm not ashamed of it. Forgot to write these down. Let's talk about these quick. These are the scrappy socks that I also made from my Woolberry Fiber Co. Advent. They're almost done. I just have to add heels in, but now I'm second guessing myself because I don't know if I want to put afterthought heels in because I know they don't fit me. Is there such a thing as a slip stitch heel flapping gusset afterthought? I vaguely feel like I heard someone talking about that, and I should look into it again, because if I could do that, that would probably fit better and I would be happier. But what I ended up doing for these, I cast on 56 stitches, and I did the first 12 mini skeins here, or sorry, first 12 mini skeins on this one, second 12 on this one. And I would have done all 24 on each sock, but I didn't realize that the 56 stitches, the socks would have had to have been so high up on my leg that this cuff was just too tight. I should have cast on 64 if I wanted to do that. So really, really mismatched socks it is, and I really like them still. So yeah, 64 stitches, 2.25 millimeter needles, that's US 1, and I just have to put the heel in them. So shouldn't take me too long, just a matter of, like I said, I don't know what I want to do for the heel because I know I don't like how the afterthought heel fits me. So I gotta look into that. And hopefully I'll have an answer by next episode. We'll see. Now we can jump into the Northeasterly Blanket. I haven't showed this in quite some time. I haven't really felt like working on it, and then once I realized I could add a whole bunch of advent skeins into it, I wanted to work on it again. So I think I can tell you what I added, but I'm gonna have to scroll through this, kind of scroll through it, because it's really big. I'm hoping to make a king size blanket, but what I'm doing is alternating my scrap yarn between this gray color. This is Knit Picks Stroll in Dove Heather. So I just bought a ton of skeins of this. It's really reasonably priced, and I've just been putting it in between everything because for me, I don't know, too many colors that don't really, well, not that they don't go together, but too many colors touching is too busy and I don't like it. So I really like how the gray breaks everything up. So yeah, I got lots going on this. What have I added in? This blue is new, and then I think everything in that row moving up. It's so hard to tell. But I've added probably about a row's worth of, goodness, what is going on with this needle? Of new colors and like gray sections into like new chevrons and stuff into this. And it's really fun. So I don't know how I'm going to photograph this when I finish it, because this is going to be massive. I also am starting to worry that I didn't order enough of the gray yarn. I think, this is going to sound insane, I think I ordered 14 skeins of it. Keep in mind, they are 50 gram skeins. So I guess technically that would work out to like 700 gram skeins. But I feel like I still am not going to have enough of it. So I also need to figure out what to do with that because Knit Picks has dye lots with their yarn. So I ordered this gray so long ago that if I order more of it, it's going to be a different dye lot and it might look different in the blanket. So do I just order another 14, keep using them, and like kind of panel it out so that every different dye lot is like one set? That might work. Does that even make sense? I think that's going to be my best bet if I don't want it to look like choppy. Because that's my concern. Like, I'm putting so much work into it that I don't want to just look like suddenly I broke into a new skein and it looks funny. So, anyways, I love this blanket. It's so fun to work on. I go through phases with it, and I'm definitely in another phase of wanting to work on it and get it done. It's going to be so cozy because it's not like super thick, so it's not going to be heavy, which is always my concern, that it's going to end up being too heavy. Because when I used to crochet, I made a couple blankets that ended up, and I don't even know how, but they ended up being so heavy that they almost just weren't comfortable to use. They still look pretty. But one of them definitely turns into my parents. Their cat likes the blanket, which I don't care. I'm glad someone likes it. But it's just too heavy for them to use, so they just put it on the couch and the cat sleeps on it, and the cat loves it. So yeah, Northeasterly. In the mood to work on it right now, so I'm taking it because it comes and goes. So I'm going to put into that as much as I possibly can. Like I said, I'm inserting all of the leftovers from my Woolberry Fiber Co. Advent minis. And then I'm also putting in, there's such a stack of stuff behind me on this chair. I'm not going to grab it, but there was a Luminaria shawl I knit. When did I finish that? In like June maybe? But I had a whole bunch of mini skeins from that too, and I have enough to add all of those into the blanket as well, so I just have a big bag of all of the minis that I have that have enough yarn in them, and I'm just like randomly grabbing them out and adding them to the blanket. So yeah. Needles, I'm using the Call for Needles for this. It's a 2.75 millimeter US 2. And how many rows? I think each of those chevrons is 26 rows. Yeah. And then I'm joining as I go. The pattern includes information on how to do that as well. That's about it for that. Ooh, new cast on. I started this actually last night, but I'm loving it so much. These are called the Easy Peasy socks. They are a pair of colorwork socks. The pattern is by, I'm going to read this because I don't want to butcher her name, Caroline Adamczyk? Adamczyzyk. Beautiful pattern though. Will be linked down below. This bag is Jibby Rousseau's, I think. Yes. It's just one of the Christmas bags I have, and I figured since I'm working on a Christmas make-along, I'm going to keep the stuff that's for that, or the socks that are for that, in a Christmas bag. So that's kind of fun. I get to use my Christmas bags longer throughout the year. But look at this. This is color work, but it's easy color work. There's never, like, you're never carrying yarn longer than 3 stitches. I knit all this last night. That's how easy it is. So if you haven't done color work before, obviously tension is a huge thing, especially with a pair of socks. So you'd have to be really careful with the tension on it, but it's really easy. It's not hard at all. So I'm using 2.25 millimeter needles, US 1 for that. I think the pattern calls for a 2.5 and a 3 millimeter, whatever that is in US terms. But I just decided to go with my normal. I cast on 60 stitches for those, and this is the yarn I'm using. This skein here is from Woolberry Fiber Co. I do think it was from, I don't know, it's some sort of club or advent or something yarn, but it's called Flannel Pyjamas. And then this here is Voolenvine yarns. It is called Deck the Halls. These are both this is an 80-20 base, and this is 100% superwash merino. Totally fine to knit socks with this. You might have to mend them slightly quicker, but they'll still hold up pretty good. So that is what I'm using for these. And yeah, I'll have inserted a picture, I'm sure, but they're so cute. I kind of want to knit a couple pairs of them because they just look so festive and like wintry and cute, and I forgot how much I love color work. I actually have another color work pattern pulled and the yarn all ready to go for it that I want to start, but this is what I picked to work on last night and what I kind of want to work on today as well. Yeah, I said 60 stitches. I only did 10 rows for the cuff. The pattern called for only 8. That felt a little short to me, so I did 10, and I'm fine with that. I mostly really just wanted to get into the color work. So 10 rows for the cuff, 2x2 rib, and yeah, very, very easy color work. If you haven't learned how to read a chart for knitting before, that would also be a really great way to learn how to read a chart as well. Once I learned how to read a chart for knitting, I don't use anything else. It's so easy to get lost in the written instructions and totally forget where you are, or with a chart, I don't know, I just find it a lot easier to read. So I definitely am not going to use all the yarn up for, or these whole skeins up for these socks, because they're not the longest in the leg. So either I'm going to have to figure out how to hack the pattern to make the leg longer, or I can just knit something else out of them. We'll see. But extra fun Christmas socks. I'm gonna knit Christmas all year because it makes me happy, and I'm okay with that. And then one other thing. Oh, this is not gonna be terribly long. That's good. I also haven't edited a video in a month and a half, so we'll see how that goes. I'm filming early for once. Usually I end up filming really late and then I regret it because I'm editing at like 8 o'clock at night and having it upload overnight, which is fine because it's always up in the morning, but I don't like editing late, so I'll be able to do it earlier today, which is good. But one more pair of socks. I don't know if I'm going to include these in my Christmas box of socks or not. These are the Plaid Blanket socks. It's a pattern by Dana Rae Makes. So the issue with these and why I'm not sure if I'm going to include them is I think I cast on too many stitches for them and they're going to be too big for my leg. So I might give them to my mom. But the yarn I'm using for this, this is Knit Picks Muse in Exquisite. Very affordable black yarn. And then this skein, oh, it looks so smushed, is some yarn from my yarn company, Birch and Lily Fiber Co. This is Baubles. There is some of it left in the shop, and it's on sale. 10% off, I think. Anyways, super pretty. No, definitely not like a... Well, it has a Christmas-y name. I guess Baubles isn't that Christmas. But it's a non-traditional Christmas colorway, so you definitely could use this throughout the year. But it's on sale because it has a Christmas name, so if you want to grab some, definitely check out the website. There's some other skeins there on sale as well right now, but yeah. So like I said, I cast on 64 stitches for these, and that's why I think they're too big. It's just, if it wasn't such a straight up just stockinette pattern, if it had some cables or something in there, I think it would be fine size-wise. But especially in the foot here where you transition to not doing the pattern on the front anymore, it just is a little too loose on my foot. So my mom might be getting these at some point, which she's okay with because she loved them when she saw them. But this is a beautiful pattern. I would definitely knit it again just in a smaller size for myself. And this is not color work. This is mosaic knitting. So there are no floats running behind. It is all just slip stitches. So you'll knit a couple rows in the one color, a couple rows in the other color, and slipping the stitches is what gives you this patterning. Yeah, very cute. 2x2 rib is what I did for about 15 rows, I think. And I put in a slip stitch heel flapping gusset. I cannot remember if this is the way the pattern called to do it or if I just did my usual slip stitch, but that is that. And I haven't worked on these in a bit. I worked on them before Christmas and then I kind of just lost steam on them, I think, because I know they're not going to fit me. So, but now that I know my mom likes them, I should be able to kind of get back in the mood with them and work on them a little bit more. Very cute pattern though. Nothing against the pattern, just against my size choice. This bag is from Tiny Human Knits, another Christmassy one. Very cute. Yeah, so there was a couple other things I worked on, but it was such a minuscule amount that I didn't feel like it was worth showing them. I really didn't cross stitch. I cross stitched for one day, I think the whole time we were back home for Christmas. Which is kind of crazy, but I've just been in a knitting mood and I'm okay with that. Whatever I feel like working on and whatever is making me happy in the moment is what I work on. So it's been knitting lately and that's okay. But yeah, not much cross stitch. And I think I worked on like a couple other tiny little things, but nothing crazy. So the plan, now that I'm back home, is to get back into uploading every 2 weeks, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So because this is probably going up randomly on a Friday, I'll skip next week and then record and upload normal time, normal day, the following week. What day is that? I don't even know. And I don't have something I can look at because I'm using my computer and my phone. But yeah, get ready for regular uploads. Again, I'm looking forward to it. I missed doing this. I missed you guys. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope you had a wonderful time with family and it wasn't too cold. And yeah, I will not ramble at the end like I usually do. I will just say, if you liked what you saw today, please, please, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. It gets the video out to other people out there, especially since it's been a month since I uploaded, because YouTube kind of loses me in their algorithm land. So I would appreciate that a lot. And I will see you all again in the next one. Bye!